Hi everyone, I'm Crafty Kate and I run a small crochet business. On this channel we talk all things yarn and crochet. Today's video is going to be a review of the fun crochet accessories that I got from Ruthless Dynamics. I was chosen as a tester to test her new crochet grip, so I have that and then some other fun goodies. I did post a little short of the unboxing, so if you want to go check that out you can see exactly what I got, but I'll just show you real quick. So I got the fat PHAT rubber grip. I'll talk about that in just a minute. And then we got some stitch markers, her cool needle that you can clip the yarn into. I'll show you how to do that. And then 2 different sizes of Ami sticks. So here are those. There's the big ones and then these little ones. So my plan for this video is to make a project where I'm going to need to use all of these things. So I found a pattern that I had in my stash. So we're going to use it as a pattern stash busting project. The pattern I picked is a llama from the Cozy Stitch, and I will have that pattern linked down in the description. I was so excited to start it that last night I actually made the little poncho for the llama, so I'm hoping this fits, but it turned out really, really cute. This is the Premier cotton that I use. I had some leftover from making a bag, so thought those were pretty colors. And then I'm going to use Premier Basic Chenille in the color Steel Cut Oats. I have a whole bunch of this, so I want to use it up. And I have the little head started, so we're going to get going on that. But I first wanted to go over the hook grip that I got. So she makes these, you just get the grip and then you have to put your own hook in it. So you have to have a metal hook, like just a standard metal hook with no grip on it. This one is a boy. I don't use boy hooks anymore, even the ones with the rubber grips, because of the way the heads are. I drop stitches like crazy. So the ones I use are the clover hooks. And if you know clover, they typically come with a grip on them like this. So I knew her grips weren't designed for clovers, so mine was a little bit of an experiment. So for a clover hook, I had to cut the grip off of it. So I have one to show you here. This is my 4.5 millimeter. So this is the grip, and I just sliced it down the middle, careful not to cut the top of the hook with a razor blade. And then you just peel it off. And it actually has a label on it on the inside, 4.5 millimeter. So this is what they look like on the inside. So definitely not a standard hook. So this is my 4.5. This one is my 6 millimeter clover hook. So I cut the grip off of it, and then I got the 6 millimeter grip. I saw in one of her videos, these are really flexible, and she said it was a little bit easier to get the hooks into the grips because of the flex. So I wanted to try that because I knew the hard plastic one would be hard to shove this in, especially because the bottom of these is shaped a little funny. So I was a little worried about that. So this is the 6 millimeter and this is the 6 millimeter grip. She has instructions that come with your order for how to get your hook inside. You can warm up your hook with a blow dryer and then put it in, and then it also helps to use pliers to get it down in there. I will say, if you're going to use a clover like I did, probably size up the hook grip, because I had a really hard time getting this hook into this grip. And I used pliers, and I didn't, a couple people in the test mentioned if you're going to use pliers on your hook, make sure to put a cloth between the pliers and your hook so you don't scratch it, because I did make some marks up a little high where you can actually still see them, so that's a bummer, but that's my bad. So definitely use a cloth if you're using pliers, and then twist helps get it in there, warming up your hook, all that stuff. But if you do use a clover, I recommend sizing up the grip, one like a half size probably, to make it a little bit looser. And then she also mentions if it is too loose, you can add a little bit of glue as you're putting it in and then let it dry all the way, and that will hold it in there. The other thing that I didn't want, so she makes the grips for the metal hooks, and the grips stop right here at the bottom of this little thumb holder thing. And for me, using a metal hook, that's obviously where my thumb lands. But if I have a grip on it, I want my thumb to be on the grip, not on the hook. So I really wanted the grip to come up over the flat part, if that makes sense. So the clovers are a little skinnier than the regular hooks, so I figured it would not be too bad, but it was definitely hard to get this in there. But I got it to a point where I like where it sits. I don't like a super long neck on my hooks. I had a hard time with furls because the necks were so long. So when I hold it, I want my thumb on the grip. And the main reason I picked this fat one is because when I crochet normally like this, my thumb hyperextends and it causes a lot of pain in this joint, and I can't make it stop doing that without a grip. So I wanted to try the fat one because you can see it makes my thumb pop out like that. So super excited to have this, and really happy that I was able to get my clover hook in there. Like I said, just maybe size up a half size and see how that works. But yeah, I have been using this for several days now and I really like it. I like how it has a little bit of squish to it and it's hollow inside there. And it fits my hand really well. It hits just barely down on my palm there. So my plan is to keep making this llama, and then I will just kind of show you as I use each thing how it works. So here's the needle. I have a piece of yarn here, so it's got that little thing in there, so you can just clip it on there, and then you don't have to thread your needle. I haven't used this yet. I'm a little worried about how fat it is. So normally I use this. It's barely bent at the end and just like pretty small. So that is a rather large difference. We'll see how that goes for sewing later. And then the Ami sticks are definitely interesting. She makes them so that you kind of wiggle them down in and then they don't just fall out. If you've ever had an Ami stick fall out, you know the struggle. So I'm interested to see how these work as well. And then we have the smaller ones for smaller pieces to sew on. So we'll just see how all that goes. And then the stitch marker has these little waves in it that you can kind of tuck down through your project, and you're supposed to be able to count your rows with it. I'm not sure how useful I will find that, but we'll see how it goes. So let's get going on this llama. I can't wait to finish him. I've had this pattern for a long time, so I'm really excited to get him done and put his little poncho on. Also, if you are interested in any of these items from Ruthless Dynamics, I will have an affiliate linked down in the description with a 10% off coupon for you to get 10% off your order, whatever you order. I am also looking at some of her other things. She has a phone stand that's completely adjustable for filming content and tutorials, so I'm really excited. I'm going to order that soon, and when I get it, I will do another little review for you guys. So yeah, that will be linked down in the description, so check it out if you're interested. Sorry about the light today. It is like a gloomy, rainy, snowy day outside, so light is terrible, but we're on a roll with our little llama. Very interesting way to do the neck hole. I've never seen anything like that, so we're on our way. I was using this little thing. It is a little difficult to use one-handed, and I don't really understand the stitch counting part. It's hard to get down in there, so I probably won't be using these very much, but it is a neat idea. Okay, so we are to the point of closing up the back of the head, so I'm going to attempt to use this needle to close this up. So I'm going to point you down. Okay, so that worked better than I was expecting, honestly. It wasn't that difficult. As with anything that's new or different, it's going to take a little bit of a learning curve to figure out the best way to use it, but it was pretty easy. I think as long as you're using a chunkier yarn, you should be fine. And the fact that you can just clip it on like that is very nice. So we will continue to use this for this project and see how we like it. I am really liking this pattern so far. Look at that cute little neck. I'm planning on embroidering the eyes. I like her little sleepy eye look, so that's why I don't have any eyes on this guy, but it's looking cute. Okay, so I used up my first skein of the steel cut oats. It was not a full skein, so just a partial skein, but we have a label to add to our March yarn usage, and we cleared out one that we were trying to get rid of, so that's awesome. And then here's where we are. I have all 4 legs connected. She definitely has a different way of doing this. I really like it. So the inside is all open still, and we're going to connect and crochet the belly together next. So, but I like how straight all the legs are. It's looking really nice. So loving the pattern so far. She has tons of video tutorials to help you. So very impressed with the pattern. Loving the hook. Like I said, I love how it's kind of squishy, has a little bit of give. It's keeping my thumb popped out. So loving that. I'm going to keep plugging away at this guy. We should be able to finish him soon. We just have to finish the body, sew the head on, the ears, and the tail. And then we get to do all the fun accessories. He has a cute little halter with some tassels. And then we get to put his little poncho on. So excited. So I'm going to keep working on this, and I will check in a bit. Okay, I got the belly all closed up. So here are our legs all put together. And then I did just get clarification about the stitch marker. So it goes in opposite of what you think it does. So the clip does not go at the top. You stick it in, weaving it through every other one so that it sticks out like that. And that shows you where you're at, and then also counts your rows. So you want it under the top row that you're on so that the wave is under that, if that makes sense. So then your bumps are rows, so each one that it covers, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't do the bottom one, but so yeah, that's how that works. And then you clip it down here, and then it won't fall out. So not as complicated as I was making it. I just finished row 5 of the body, and I just wanted to let you guys know a little modification I made. So she has you make the tail before you make the body, and then you sew it on later, but because of the way the tail is made, it's easy to crochet it in. So it says to sew it on between rows 4 and 5. So in row 5, Wednesday's making a bunch of noise back there. In row 5, I just crocheted it in using the 4 stitches centered on the back of the body, and that worked just fine. So there's that. I did that in row 5, and that puts it between 4 and 5, if that makes sense. So we have the tail attached. So now I'm just going to finish up the body, and then we can get this guy put together. We are up to the point of closing the body, so we are going to try to use the needle again. Angle you down. Now I'm going to use the Ami sticks to hold the head on the front of the body. So get that where we want it, and then try to show you what I'm doing. So the way I understand it is you put the straight part through the part you're trying to hold, and then you wiggle this down so that it holds and doesn't fall out. So okay, so there we go. I'm pretty happy with that placement. And then as you can see, it's not going anywhere because of the little squiggles that hold it down in there. So that's perfect. And then we have this end from closing up our body that we'll use to sew the head on. So we'll just attach it. That part is really nice. Okay. Okay, so the needle is definitely getting easier to use. I could definitely get used to this hook, like the curve to it. It's really nice for like scooping up underneath and getting both sides of the stitch, if that makes sense. So that worked really well. Everything always looks crooked on camera, but there he is. He looks totally goofy, but we're gonna dress him up and make him real cute. So I'm going to work on sewing the ears on, embroidering the eyes, and getting some cuteness on him. But let's see real quick. I want to put this on. Looks like it fits pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to get him looking put together, and then I will show you when I'm done. I just finished the little llama, and I am obsessed. I highly recommend this pattern. It is so cute. Look at that sweet face. I just love the way the embroidered eyes look and the little tassels. She has some other tassels you can add, and a different blanket if you want. I think the little poncho is absolutely adorable in these pastel colors. He's very Easter looking, he, she. So cute. Baby safe with the embroidered eyes. I'm obsessed. So, very successful video. And as far as the hook, I love the hook grip. Love how squishy it is. Love how it fits in my hand. Love that I can use a clover. It is awesome. The other things obviously will take a little bit of getting used to because they are different than what I'm used to, but this is awesome with the curve to it and the way you can clip the yarn onto it so you don't have to stuff the bulky yarn through. This is definitely better for thicker yarn, especially if you use like a size 7 or something. I think it would work great. And then these, as you could see, were fantastic for stuff that you don't want to move. They stay in place really well and will not fall out. So if you're using it, what I picture using it for is like when you have multiple horns attached to the head and you're working around both. The other one for me always moves because the Ami sticks move. So these would be perfect for when you're working with multiple things in the same spot. So I like these, and I love that there are smaller versions for smaller projects, smaller pieces to attach. So those are awesome as well. And then I think I left the stitch marker over there, but also really cool. I think it would be great for beginners to help you count your rows. And yeah, I will have her shop linked down in the description if you're interested in checking anything out. She has the fat rubber grip. She has the fat solid plastic grip, and then she also has a slim that's a little bit skinnier, so definitely go check those out. She has lots of options. For making it all the way to the end of the video, let's do a yarn ball emoji this time because I don't think there's a llama. If there is a llama, put a llama, but otherwise put a yarn ball. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!